Hello and welcome to the Happy Families podcast. Today on the doctor's desk, have you heard of the personality dip in adolescence? Some brand new research has just been published that caught my eye via Steve Stewart Williams' Substack. And oh my goodness, do we have some things to talk about here. The adolescent personality dip. Following teenagers for 6 or 7 years, when do they become absolutely psychotic? Is that unfair? Did I say the wrong thing, Kylie? Have I just gone too far? We're currently raising our fifth 16-year-old, and I just feel like I'm so sick of the adolescent emotionality and personality dip. And we've got a 12-year-old that's acting like she's 15 or 16 now as well. Oh my goodness.
When you're going through it, you actually feel like you're the only person going through it.
I thought you were going to say something else right then, and I was going to say, yes, you do actually feel like, but I'm not going to say what, you just feel like, why is this still happening? Yeah, anyway.
But it was hilarious. The other night I was catching up with some women and we had a grandma, she's in her late 70s, and then a peer, similar age to me. And we were just talking and my friend mentioned that her 15-year-old daughter was driving her insane, and she shared a few particulars.
I've never heard that story before.
And I looked at her and I went, oh yeah, mine too. And then our lovely friend,
the grandma, yeah.
She's looked at me and she said, how old are they? And we both looked at her and we went, 15. She said, I was just about to say, there is just nothing like a 15-year-old girl. And my friend said, oh, look, I'm just hoping that in the next few years she grows out of it. This beautiful, beautiful grandma, she looked at us and she said, good luck with that.
Yeah, well, we could have said the same thing because we've been through it before. After the break, we will talk about the adolescent personality dip, what is going on, why it's happening, or at least why we think it's happening, and most importantly, what we can do about it. Stay with us. Hello and welcome to the Happy Families podcast, where you get real parenting solutions every single day. This is Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast. We are Justin and Kylie Coulson, the parents of 6 daughters. Our youngest is now 12. She's now 12. Do we call that a teenager?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we are, the way she's acting. So we are in the final 5-6 years, the final throes of what has been a so far 27-year parenting
marathon
journey.
Not journey. Marathon.
We're going to do like 33, 34 years of active, full-time parenting dependent children.
Whose idea was that?
I have to take credit for the last 2. I was the one that came to you about those 2. I don't even know if I should continue with this pod. Hey, there's this brand new research that I really want to talk about it. Steve Stewart Williams runs a Substack. He's an evolutionary psychologist based out of, I think it's Malaysia these days. And he is just intelligent, thoughtful. And even if you don't, I hear a lot of people say, oh, I don't believe in evolution, so therefore I can't listen to what an evolutionary psychologist has to say. This guy's ideas are brilliant. And there is a lot going on here. So here's what we know. When it comes to personality change, much of the news is good news. This is what I really want to focus on. It does get better if you're struggling. As we move through adulthood, we tend to become less neurotic. Neurotic means emotionally unstable. So we become more emotionally stable as we move through adulthood. We become more conscientious, so we're better able to persevere and do hard things. And we even, believe it or not, become more agreeable, although if you work in retail or hospitality, you might not think so. But, well, actually, until at least you retire, there may be some issues. Hello, boomer. Anyway, let me move on. When it comes to adolescent personality change, this is where the news isn't quite so good. The data shows that across cultures, there's a temporary dip in what you might call desirable personality characteristics and traits. Teenagers basically become less conscientious, less agreeable, and more neurotic. And I want to talk about how that happens and why. So there's a recent longitudinal study from Norway that I'm going to link to in the show notes by 3 researchers whose names I can't pronounce because Nordic languages are just beyond my understanding. So I do apologize. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Steinsbeck, Wickstrom, and von Sust. How do I do?
Why are you asking me? I don't speak Norwegian.
They followed a representative sample of 805 teenagers, measuring their personalities at 10, 12, 14, and 16.
So I'm super curious. How do you measure someone's personality?
Have you heard of the Big 5? the big 5 personality traits? I'm sure we must have talked about this on the podcast before.
Refresh my memory.
Shows how much you listen to what I've got to say in these Doctor's Desk episodes. Okay, so personality can be divided up in a range of different ways, but the most widely accepted measure of personality is what's known as the Big 5. And you can remember it with the acronym OCEAN, OCEAN. So O stands for openness to new experience. I love that you're taking notes. You've never done this when I've spoken before. Openness to new experience. That is your willingness to absorb what's going on in language, conversation, culture, art, your openness to what's happening in your environment. Some people don't want to know anything new. Other people are like, yes, let me try the new food at the restaurant. Okay, so openness to new experience. Children tend not to be very open. They just like what they like. The C stands for conscientiousness. This is your ability to get stuff done, to persevere, to endure, have fortitude. The A stands for agreeableness. Some people are really agreeable. They listen to what other people say. They're willing to be empathic and compromise and engage with ideas. And other people are less agreeable. They're actually quite dogmatic and rigid.
Did you say the E?
I'm getting to... Oh, did I miss? Oh, I can't spell. I suddenly forgot how to spell. Thanks for... See, this is what happens when you take notes. You pick me up. Should do this more often. The E stands for extroversion. So this is about your energy levels and how much you love being with people and doing exciting things. And then the N, are we up to the N now? N is neuroticism. And this is the emotional instability, how emotionally dysregulated you get and how upset you are by different things. So essentially, there are a whole bunch of questionnaires that you can give people to measure those 5 attributes. And these researchers had a look at these kids filling in the questionnaires at ages 10, 12, 14 and 16.
So the obvious question is, what did they find?
Let me quiz you on this, okay? We have not gone through any notes. You don't know where this is going to go. We'll start with openness to experience. What would you imagine happens with kids as they go from 10 to 16 when it comes to openness to experience?
You want me to, like, gender-based?
Sure, yeah, girls versus boys or both?
So generally our experience has been that boys would be more open to new experiences and girls less so.
Okay. And would you say that they become more or less open as they grow from 10 to 16?
Less for the girls.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what the data showed. The data showed that overall, both boys and girls decline in openness to experience as they go from 10 to 16. And girls actually start off scoring higher.
Really?
But by the time they get to 16, the boys are more open to new experiences. The girls are less so. Let's do conscientiousness next. What would you imagine happens with conscientiousness as children go from 10 to 16?
Boys, there's a rapid decline.
Right. I love the way you said that with a big smile on your face.
But I think that girls go through that too. The other day on the podcast, we talked specifically about education and how girls are a lot more conscientious in their education paths compared to boys. So I feel like in some regards, girls actually move up the ladder of conscientiousness in some areas, but in lots of areas, I don't think. I think there's a big decline.
Okay, so here's what we found. Okay, so remember with openness to experience, goes down for both. With conscientiousness, goes down for both. Starting at about the age of 12, and I think it's really important to highlight here that while the trajectory of change is similar for both boys and girls, boys score lower on conscientiousness than girls at every age.
Yes.
And they continue to do that well into adulthood. We don't have any data yet that shows that boys become more conscientious than girls ever. In fact, when I was writing my boys book, that's partly because boys are just much more prone to struggling with impulse control than are girls, even at age 30, 35, 40. You talk to middle-aged women and they'll say, I'm just waiting for my husband to start to control his impulses a little better. They are not very good at that. Okay, so we've got openness to new experience. We've got conscientiousness. Let's go to extroversion next. What would you think happens with kids as they go from 10 to 16 in terms of their extroversion? I'm pretty impressed, by the way. You're 2 for 2 so far. I wasn't expecting that.
Girls would definitely decline. I think that boys decline for a short time, but I would suggest that they would increase in their extroversionness as they get older.
Okay, so having a look at the data here, what it shows is that extroversion pretty much stays as it was in childhood up until about the age of, I'm going to say about 14, and then it starts to drop off. Kids just become less inclined to reach out to new people. Making friends becomes harder. They start to close up shop a little bit, close ranks, and just focus on their friends. Extroversion falls in both sexes from about age 14. All right, we've got 2 to go. Let's wrap this up. Agreeableness. What's your prediction for agreeableness?
That's a general decline.
Right. Who would be less agreeable, girls or boys?
Girls.
Says the mother of 6 girls. Yeah, so agreeableness drops from about age 12 in both genders. Girls actually remain more agreeable than boys right throughout the process. Girls are...
What happened to our girls then?
Believe it or not, more agreeable. I don't know. Basically, we can look at 2 different things here. We can look at compliance, and boys are just a bit more non-compliant. There's that impulsivity again. And the second thing you look at with agreeableness is something called altruism. And once again, girls do tend to be a little bit more altruistic than boys at an average level. And so they are very disagreeable. But we need to talk about neuroticism, because the disagreeableness is not just about that personality trait of arguing with their parents. A lot of it actually comes into the question of neuroticism. So last one, what would you anticipate the data showed on neuroticism for teenagers?
I think girls go through the roof.
Yeah. There's a massive difference in the magnitude of the shift across time when you compare girls and boys. So from ages 12 to 16, girls show a really big increase in neuroticism and the boys just don't. And what that means is that neuroticism gap really widens substantially by mid-adolescence. As with a lot of personality things where there are big gaps over time, as men and women mature, the gap closes. But during adolescence, oh my goodness, there's the neuroticism, and that explains what you were talking about there with the big emotions, the dysregulation, the instability, the huge reactions.
Girls are way more inclined to seek the approval of their peers.
Right, which ties in with agreeableness.
There's so much more.
And it also shows the decrease in openness to experience.
Well, and then neuroticism.
Mm-hmm. Because when they don't get it, whoosh.
Well, not only that, they're so keenly aware of social context and they don't want to be seen out on a limb ever. And that impacts emotions in a huge way.
Okay, so there's the summary. We need to take a break. And when we come back, the shortest wrap up ever, let's talk about what we're supposed to do knowing that personality dips in adolescence, and also a bit about why. That's next on the Happy Families podcast. We're back. This is the Happy Families podcast. Kylie, why it's happening? There's a whole lot of conjecture. There's a whole lot of speculation. I don't think that any of us really know. There's no data to tell us why it happens. And so I'm not going to speculate on it. And apart from that, our podcast time is almost up. So what matters is not why it's happening, but what we can do about it. And it's worth spending a couple of minutes on this.
Well, let's just close up shop and hibernate for the next few years and get through it.
Lock them away. Send them to boarding school.
I'm saying lock me away.
All right. Well, you still got to live. Come on. Oh, it's hard work. So
I can live in the bath.
So the first thing that I want to highlight is the power of perspective taking is enormous. The second thing that I want to highlight is patience is profound. There's this thing that I've been researching quite a lot lately. It's actually in an education context, autonomy supportive instructional behaviours. This is what teachers need to do to create classrooms where students' autonomy is supported, which means that the kids are going to be much more motivated to comply and be into the content. And there are 7 autonomy supportive instructional behaviours for teachers. If you're a teacher, listen up, take some notes. But if you're a parent, you'll just be amazed at how much these autonomy supportive instructional behaviours apply in the living room, maybe more than the classroom. Number 1, take your child's perspective. Like, stand in their shoes, see the world through their eyes, understand their perspective. When you can do that, oh my goodness, it changes the game. Perspective taking, active consideration of another person's mental state. When you say, well, this is really tough, or I can see how frustrating this is for you, all of a sudden you're not the enemy anymore. You're their ally, and it makes a huge difference. Number 2, invite them to pursue things that they're interested in. This means, like, force creates resistance. We talk about all of this sort of stuff all the time on the podcast. When kids feel like they are allowed to pursue things that matter to them, they feel like origins rather than pawns. They feel like their behavior is self-authored. They feel this sense of volition and choicefulness. They experience ownership over what they're doing, so they therefore get to endorse the activity, and therefore they're much more likely to engage in things that are healthy and safe because they're choosing them. The third thing, support their basic psychological needs. They need friends. They need to feel like they're good at stuff. The fourth one, give an explanatory rationale. Instead of just saying, do this, do that, that invites problems, provide rationales, help them to understand the motivation behind your requests. It's a game changer. The fifth one, acknowledge negative feelings. Sixth one, make invitations rather than stepping into command and control all the time. And the seventh one, display patience. Display patience. Display patience. Like literally that.
Did you mean to say that 3 times?
No, but I've said it for emphasis because holy cow, how much patience do you need to raise a teenager? They are they're not just mine. That's what the research shows is going to make the biggest impact when we try to navigate the adolescent personality dip.
I love that the very first one is about us learning to take our child's perspective.
We've forgotten what it's like to be a teenager.
It is so easy when they're throwing everything at us to want to do some very unkind things.
Or say unkind things, or to be unproductive and ineffective in your relationship, to hurt the relationship, yeah.
And I remember having a conversation with somebody once and I was so frustrated with one of our children, and they just reminded me, do you think that she's not trying? And I'm like, no, she's not. But they are. Like their world, the way they see the world, the way they experience the world, it's all so heightened because there is so many changes going on inside them and on the outside as well. So many things in their life that they have zero control over, so many things that they feel are unnecessary in their world, and they just are trying to work it all out.
Yeah. Think back to what it was like when you were a teenager.
Yeah.
Totally.
And how you saw your parents and how you felt about, X, Y, and Z. Like, I think it's really important.
That was a fun doctor's desk. You actually, you took notes. You took notes, you got involved. I love it. The Doctor's Desk will be back again next week on the Happy Families podcast, which is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Mim Hammonds provides additional research and admin support. And if you'd like more info about that particular study, we'll link to it in the show notes. For more on making your family happier, visit our social pages or happyfamilies.com.au.